Free natural baits. Secrets from the old man by the river. Hey there, fishing fanatics. Happy new day, and welcome back to Fishing 24 Hours, your ultimate channel for killer fishing tips, tricks, and stories that make every trip legendary. Ever head out to fish and realize you forgot your bait? Been there, and I almost called it quits one day, until a wise old angler showed me the way. Today, we're diving into the art of using free natural baits forms. Minnows, grasshoppers, crawfish, found right at your fishing spot, no wallet needed, and guaranteed to hook big fish. This story goes back a few years to a crisp morning in Louisiana. I hit the bayou with my gear, ready for action, only to find I'd left my bait bag at home. Standing there, staring at the water, I was ready to pack up when Old Man Hank, a local fishing legend, strolled up with a grin. "No bait, huh? No problem. The best bait's right under your feet." He knelt down, dug into the damp soil near some willows, and pulled out a handful of fat, wriggling nightcrawlers. Then he waded along the bank, nabbing a few tiny minnows and snagging some grasshoppers from the grass. "Worms, minnows, grasshoppers. Fish love 'em," he said. "Free, fresh, and lively. That's what gets 'em biting." I followed his lead, tied a worm to my hook, and dropped it near some flooded grass. In under 2 minutes, my float twitched, then dove. I set the hook a 1-pound crappie, thrashed the water. That morning, Hank and I filled a bucket with crappie, catfish, and bass, all caught on bait we found right there. That day taught me nature's got all the bait you need if you know where to look. In this video, we'll explore why natural baits are so effective, how to find worms, minnows, grasshoppers, and crawfish for free, tips to use them to lure big fish, and safety precautions when foraging. We've got 2 real-life stories from the US to fire you up, plus practical tips and beginner advice to master this technique. These tricks work in rivers, lakes, or ponds across America, for fish like bass, catfish, or crappie. So, grab a cold soda, kick back, and let's turn the riverbank into your bait shop. Why do natural baits drive fish crazy? 3 big reasons. First, live baits like worms, minnows, or grasshoppers create natural scents and movements that trigger a fish's hunting instincts. A wriggling worm or a twitching grasshopper looks and smells like their everyday prey. Second, these baits match the local fish diet. Bass, catfish, and crappie grow up eating worms, minnows, and bugs, so they trust them without hesitation. Third, natural bets are free and endless. Spend a few minutes foraging by the water, and you've got enough bait for the day. No store run needed. Lots of anglers think store-bought baits are the only way to go, but natural baits have a magic all their own. Fish in rivers or lakes can be wary of artificial lures, but worms, minnows, or crawfish are familiar, making them bite without a second thought. The key is keeping baits fresh, lively, and placed right. With these tricks, you'll see nature's your best fishing buddy. Let's dive into how to find and use these free bets. Start with Nightcrawlers, the king of natural bets. You can find worms almost anywhere, especially in moist soil, near trees, grass, or leaf piles. After rain, they're everywhere. Dig in damp areas near riverbanks or lake shores. Use a small shovel or your hands to scoop soil near willows or underbrush. Fat worms, 2 to 4 inches long, are perfect. They wiggle hard and give off a fishy scent that draws catfish, crappie, or bass. Collect a handful and store them in a plastic container with damp soil to keep them alive for your trip. Next up, minnows and small baitfish killer, live baits for predatory fish. Minnows hang out in shallow creeks, grassy patches, or near roots along the bank. Use a small dip net to scoop them gently in shallow water, especially early morning when they're active. Look for them in calm spots, near reeds or lily pads. Keep minnows alive in a bucket with river water to maintain their movement, which drives fish like bass or catfish wild. A few dozen minnows are plenty for a day's fishing. Grasshoppers and crickets are gold for fish that love bugs, like crappie or bluegill. Early morning, when dew's still on the grass, walk along riverbank meadows or lake edges and nab grasshoppers perched on blades. A small net or quick hands work great. Go for smaller ones, about 1 inch long, as they twitch hard when hooked. Store them in a breathable plastic container with some grass to keep them lively. Use them same day for max freshness, as their wiggling draws fish from afar. Crawfish are a top pick for catfish and bass. Find them in shallow, rocky bottoms or under logs near the bank. Scoop them with a net or grab carefully by hand to avoid their pinchers. 1 to 2 inches are ideal. Their scent and claw movements are irresistible. Crack the shell lightly to release more scent if needed. Collect 10 to 15 crawfish and keep them in a bucket with a bit of water. These are perfect for deeper or murky water where fish hunt by smell. When using natural bets, hooking technique matters. Hook live bets securely, but let them move freely. For worms, thread them through the body 2 to 3 times, leaving the head and tail free to wiggle. Minnows. Hook lightly through the back so they can swim. Grasshoppers. Hook through the thorax to keep legs and wings twitching. Drop baits gently to avoid splashing and spooking fish. Use a 6 to 10-foot ultralight rod or cheap spinning setup with a soft tip for precise casts. 4 to 8 pound test line is thin enough to be sneaky, but strong enough for big fish. Pick spots near where you find baits to match the fish's natural diet. Flooded grass, tree roots, or shallow banks are ideal, as worms, minnows, and bugs are common there. Drop your bait 3 to 10 feet from shore, right at the edge of grass or near roots where fish hunt. Use a sensitive float, like a feather float or lead bobber for evening fishing, to catch light bites. Set your float so the bait hovers just above the bottom, about 8 to 20 inches deep in the strike zone. Watch your float like a hawk. If it twitches lightly, wait. When it dips sharply or pulls steadily, set the hook gently to avoid snapping the line. In light currents, cast slightly upstream so the flow carries your bait naturally to fish. Use a light sinker, about 1/16 to 1/8 ounce, to let the bait drift naturally without getting swept away. This makes your bait look like food floating in, triggering hard strikes. A pro tip is to twitch your rod lightly after casting every 2 to 3 seconds to create ripples. For worms or grasshoppers, this mimics struggling prey, making fish pounce. Don't overdo it to avoid spooking fish. In murky water, twitching paired with the scent of worms or crawfish pulls fish from far. In clear water, drop baits near grass or shade to make their movement pop. The best times to use natural baits are early morning, from 4:30 to 7 a.m. or late afternoon. From 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. when fish are feeding hard. After rain, when worms and minnows are abundant, is prime time to forage and fish. Cloudy days or murky water are ideal, as fish are less wary and more likely to bite natural baits. Get there early to gather bait and cast as fish start feeding, avoiding flashlights at dusk to keep them calm. Here's another real-life story to show the power of natural baits. One time in Arkansas, I was fishing at a reservoir, and my store-bought bait ran out by noon. Remembering Hank's advice, I scouted the bank, digging worms under some oaks and scooping crawfish from shallow rocks. In 15 minutes, I had enough bait for the afternoon. The result? I landed several bluegill and a 5-pound bass, all on free bait I found right there. Hank's words stuck with me. Dante, just bring a rod, bring a hunter's eyes. To use natural baits like a pro, master foraging and storage. Dig worms in moist, not dry, soil for easy finds. Scoop minnows in shallow water, moving slow to avoid scaring them. Catch grasshoppers at dawn when they're sluggish. Grab crawfish in calm shallows, avoiding fast currents. Store worms in damp soil, minnows and crawfish in river water, and grasshoppers in a breathable container with grass. Don't let baits die. Lively baits are what make fish strike. Safety's key when foraging natural baits. Be careful wading along banks, especially in deep or muddy spots, to avoid slipping. Don't reach into deep holes, as snakes or big crawfish might be hiding. When collecting crawfish, watch for sharp claws. Keep live baits in a container with air holes, adding soil for worms or water for minnows to keep them fresh. If fishing in deep rivers or lakes, wear a life jacket for safety. A little caution keeps your trip smooth and fun. New to fishing, natural baits are a great way to start. Try a grassy bank or near tree roots, using a cheap rod, feather float, and worms. Note where bites come like crappie near grass. Don't stress if bait snags. Adjust your cast. Using natural bets builds observation and casting skills, setting you up for big catches. To level up, practice casting accurately. twitching your rod and watching your float. Spend trips targeting grassy banks or roots, timing light hook sets. When foraging, pick fat worms, lively minnows, or active grasshoppers. In crowded spots, find a quiet corner to keep fish calm. These details turn the riverbank into your bait shop and fish zone. Fishing with natural baits isn't just budget-friendly, it connects you to nature. Every time I dig worms, scoop minnows, or catch grasshoppers, I feel like a true hunter. When the float dips slow, my heart races, hands grip the rod. That's a moment only anglers get. Whether you're a rookie or a veteran, these tricks will make you a natural bait master, filling your bucket without spending a dime. That's it, folks. We've covered free natural baits, why they work, finding worms, minnows, grasshoppers, crawfish, using them right, and staying safe. I hope you're stoked to try this out. Smash that like, share with your fishing crew, and subscribe to Fishing 24 Hours for more killer tips. Got a natural bait story from America's rivers or lakes? Drop it in the comments, I'm all ears. Tight lines and big catches. See you next time.